Hi, welcome to episode 5. This is the infamous Marie.
Hello.
It's Kathleen Marie, and we named our boat Aquamarie after her. And in this episode, I have some older footage that I took that I'm talking about the engine on our boat and what we want to do with it. So, here we go. So I promised to talk about the engine. The engine currently is a Volvo Penta 2002 from 1985. She worked when we pulled her out of the water, and it had a transmission issue that I have not looked into yet, but that is where we stand. So what I wanted to do was, well, I have my options. My options is leave it the way it is, get it running, fix the transmission, play with it. Probably would do that if we're going to stay farting around on Lake Ontario and not going far. If we are to go into salt water, currently this engine is what's called a raw water cooled, which means the water around the boat is what gets pumped through the engine to cool it off, which is actually fine on a freshwater lake like Lake Ontario. If you start getting out into brackish or salt water, then that really does a number on the engine, and what you need is a heat exchanger to use raw water to cool through the heat exchanger, and then similar to a car radiator, this would have its own fluid circulating through the heat exchanger that doesn't get in contact with the salt water. And they have versions of this engine with a heat exchanger and freshwater cooled. This one does not have that, and they don't make them anymore. I looked briefly online as best I could without going too crazy to see if there was an aftermarket one. I think there may be, but I'd be looking at, I don't know, hundreds if not over $1,000 to get this. And Volvos are notorious for being incredibly expensive to repair. Like if an alternator goes, it's like $600 or something. Just crazy prices for things. And it's already 35 years old, so I don't think I would go that route. So I don't think I'd go that route with this engine. I'd use it just around Lake Ontario, and I could get it running and fix that transmission. And I'm not calling US Boat for a tow too often. But I would like something more reliable. So what I would really like for this is a 3-cylinder Beta Marine 20 horsepower. And I got a quote for that, and it's roughly twice what I paid for the boat. And so obviously I'm not jumping on it, but I am still seriously considering it. One of the things I was thinking of doing and planning on doing eventually is selling my Harley to pay for a bunch of things to get this boat finished. And selling my Harley would pretty much be a swap for this Beta Marine. And it's a self-install. I would be doing it. I talked to Beta Marine. I gotta say I'm pretty impressed with how nice they were. They deal with weekend warrior types that do the work themselves. It's still a 5-year warranty even if I do it myself. Ship it direct to my house. So I'm very tempted. They certainly seem to be making it easy, but I'd certainly be paying them enough money for that to be expected. And the last option, well, one other option inside here is electric, and I've given that some thought too. But to be honest, to get a really good electric system with the proper with decent batteries, maybe even like lithium batteries, we're talking the same price as the Beta Marine. These batteries, and it's not the electric system, it's the batteries. They run thousands each. So, and you need a bank of 8 to 10 of them or something like that. So that's one option. I'm going to come out here. And yet another option is a outboard motor in the rear lazarette. So this is a large rear locker here that I was telling you about. James Baldwin, the guy at Adam Voyagers. He has a plan He's done many restorations of these Albergs and others that are similarly built. He puts an outboard motor that fits under here, some modification, and it flips up when you're sailing, drops down again when you need it, and you can put it in the case and lock it so it doesn't get stolen. Quarter the cost of a Beta Marine. And it's actually, I mean, it's really touted for a true sailor, I think, who needs the motor to get in and out of harbors, and then they're sailing the rest of the time. Unfortunately, I'm not a true sailor. I don't mean that to say that I'm just going to motor around all the time. I have a 10-foot sailing dinghy, and that's really the extent of my sailing abilities. So it's going to be a big learning curve. And another thing that we thought of that we might like to do is the Great Loop someday, which is, I'll try to flash a picture of it up here. It's, it involves the Erie Canal, which is just a couple miles from where I am right now. You can go through the Great Lakes, make your way to Chicago. There's a canal system that gets you all the way, canal and river system that gets you all the way to the Mississippi. Take that down to the Gulf, and then you go around to Florida and all the way up the East Coast. There's the Intracoastal Waterway. You can either sail along outside or you can putt along in the Intracoastal Waterway. Back up to the Hudson River and up to the Erie Canal again. And that's a lot of motoring. And we're talking about a 6 to 9.8, 9.9 horsepower outboard motor pushing a 9,000 pound boat, which again is great for you leaving your slip, you getting out of the marina, getting out of the harbor, you put your sails up, and then you're done with it, which is what a true sailor back in the day kind of thing did. It's just called an auxiliary motor, get you out and going. If we were to do the Great Loop with a 9.8 horsepower motor, I think that would tax it pretty good. Putting along 12 hours in one day, days and days at a time. People take a year to go around, but obviously they're stopped and enjoying different areas, so it's not necessarily every day. But so I'm kind of hesitant on the motor for that plan. So we're still thinking about it, but I'd be curious about your comments on that. Go ahead and leave them below. I've already asked this once on a couple of the Facebook pages and got very strong opinions both sides. There's a guy that has one of James's rebuilds, the Laura, L-O-R-A, and he left, I think, Boston area and made his way down the coast, enjoyed the Caribbean, made his way through the Panama Canal. He's in the French Polynesia now, so he's halfway around the world already. He's got a 6 horsepower outboard engine on his boat, and it's the exact same boat. It's an Alberg 30. So I mean, it can be done, but he's also he knows his stuff. He's a sailor. He knows how to sail, and he knows what he's doing. And so does James. James has circumnavigated in a boat smaller than this twice, once without an engine at all. So I mean, it's really, how good are you? And I'm not that good, so at least not yet. We'll see if we get there. But anyway, that's my engine discussion. If anybody has any ideas or thoughts on that, I'd be curious. I think I know a lot of the opinions are pretty strong one way or the other. So there you go. Okay, that was our okay. Okay, that was our discussion about the engine and what we want to do about that. I didn't say at the beginning where we were. We are in Skaneateles, New York. It's a Finger Lake over towards Syracuse, New York, and that is it up behind us. We got some sailboats in the distance.
Beautiful sailboats, beautiful sunny day.
Yeah, and anyway, thank you for
your support. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. And if I did this right, up over in this area of the screen should be a little aquamarine colored circle that is if you want to subscribe, just press on that and it will let you subscribe.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye. See you next time.
Bye.